Hey, gods and goddesses. We have Neptune, Saturn, and Chiron retrograding in the sign of Aries, all within the same month. This is the most intense soul awakening that you will experience because these are planets that are long lasting, and honestly, it takes years to deliver these types of transformations or to feel these types of effect. But them retrograding all together within the same sign of Aries is really rare. This is like a triple amplifier and a spiritual pressure that is placed upon you that really forces deep transformation at the core of your soul. And I want to talk about why this is so important or why this is huge, because these are planets that are long lasting. They have a long lasting effect on your inner self. This is a transformation of alchemy where your false selves are burned away and your sacred warrior spirit can finally rise up, your higher self, your higher spirit, and your wounds become the healer gifts that help you amplify this profound inner power that you will establish or you will come across that was always within you, but it definitely had to be developed. And this is really huge because it's not about what you do, it's about who you are at your core. And the universe is going to demand you. It's going to demand nothing less of your purest and most fiercest and truest self to emerge. Like these are this retrograde is definitely waking you up at your soul level, like your deepest soul level. I can't go any deeper than that. It's truly the purest form of your innermost fire, of your primal self. And this is the fire of the self. This is you becoming that spiritual warrior. And so when we talk about the sign of Aries, we know Aries is the sign of the self. It is the I am. It is raw identity, raw willpower, courage. This is a sign about initiation. Aries is the very spark of existence and new beginnings, birthing things new. And when Aries is dealing with the planets of, Neptune, which is illusions, Saturn, which are boundaries and karmic lessons, and also Chiron, our soul's wounds and also healing in some type of way. And they're retrograding in this sign. The universe is going to force you, to invoke some type of fundamental re-examination of who you truly are and stripping away everything else that is false to reveal your core self, your most sacred self. And when we're dealing, let's talk a little bit about Neptune retrograding in Aries, even though I made a whole video about it. But Neptune retrograding in Aries, Neptune's rules our dreams. It rules the unseen realms. It rules our spiritual vision. It rules illusions. And having regard in the sign of Aries, it really dissolves these false identities, even these soul masks that we wear, and revealing what is truly hidden beneath you know, that so-called bravery, or it is bravery that Aries has, but the bravery of the self, of this constructed self-image that we all put on, and, we put on a mask and we live our lives. This is really breaking that away as it's going into retrograde. We're getting you to want to cut ties with those most fakest parts of yourself. This is going to feel like a spiritual awakening of a mystical unraveling, a mystical, reveal to you. And as the rail drops, you're going to see your soul's light, or your soul's purest light. And then we're talking about Saturn retrograding in the sign of Aries. This is, well, let's just say Saturn is our father. He is our teacher. It is the karmic taskmaster. He stands for authority. He stands for the earthly realm, having integrity and all the things that we should have for ourselves and hold within ourselves. And Saturn is going, this retrograde is going to force you to revisit where you've been misused, or you've been misusing your power, or you've been underused, underusing your personal power, your courage, and even discipline, where you're lacking in discipline. And it's about building a new and sacred structure around your identity. There are no shortcuts when it comes to self-mastery. You truly have to like yourself when you're dealing with Saturn. And these illusions, of hiding and hiding away, hiding your light in the corner and being stuck in the corner of life. It's no more, you know. It demands maturity, and it demands the sacred responsibility of your unique soul's mission. You have a mission, as I always say. And you know, this is a time that it's time to get back to it, or to remember who you truly are. And then we talk about Chiron being in Aries. Chiron is the wounded healer archetype, and it retrograding in Aries. These are our deepest wounds, you know, things that we are really shameful about, and these really cut deep in the sign of Aries because it surrounds self-worth, courage, and existence itself. You know, almost like, where the hell am I? You know, as Chiron is being in Aries, we all have questioned, where am I? Who are these people? And, you know, people who are awakening, I don't know if other people, you know, I leave other people alone where they think that this is all that it is, but you and I know that there's more to exist in here. And so these wounds with Chiron may stem from rejection, even, you know, of course, being in the sign of Aries, it can stem from fear, feeling like you're not being seen. You know, we all want to be seen, we all want to be heard. And this retrograde is definitely going to offer a rare spiritual medicine. I feel like we all need, you know, to drink the medicine of self-worth. And, you know, this is a chance to really face these pains and sorrows and face this sad part of ourselves that is directly, you know, it's not hidden. It's not going to be hidden anymore, but it's directly there, and it can be affecting us in ways that we do not understand. And it's time for us to transmute them into sacred wisdom and to healing power. And when we think about this, you know, triple retrograde and these long lasting signs or long lasting planets, Chiron is an asteroid, but this is not about this. We can think about collective consciousness, of course it ripples down to collective consciousness. It ripples down to others feeling this way as well. We're connecting with these other people, you know. It definitely has to do with past life experiences, but the cosmos is definitely birthing a new era of awakened individuals, you know, empowered selves who no longer accept spiritual illusions, and they no longer expect these karmic chains or these wounded identities that we don't need to stick with. Like, we are not sticking with identities that are far beyond our evolution. We've grown into different parts of ourselves. There's no reason to still associate or, you know, even identify with this. You know, this is really a mass initiation of the self and seeing who you are, a cosmic reset, you know, a call to embody something authentic, divine selfhood we all have in a world that's desperately needing these true warriors of light and healing and understanding, most importantly of understanding, and understanding yourself, overstanding yourself to a certain extent. And this retrograde can feel pretty intense, especially, you know, collectively, because this is ultimately uncomfortable, and it's very liberating, but it's very uncomfortable because it's like it's like doing surgery, you know, on yourself and on your soul. And nobody wants to go through surgery, but you know, having the ego clashes even are very uncomfortable, breaking down those illusions and cutting away things that no longer serve us, and even these old karmic fears that we have, and these blocks about courage and power, you know, or even challenged, feeling like we're powerless, but that was never the case, or other people have more power over us. That was never the case as well. You know, even with Saturn, you know, all these planets, these are really deep, you know, wounds that have to do with existence. And, you know, it's like all of these things are exposed and asked to heal. And this is a process that really shakes these foundations of life, and collectively, but also individually and even ancestrally. This is really difficult, but it is necessary. I do think that we are all going to rise stronger, clearer, and more aligned to our highest self. And even though it's a cosmic invitation to rebirth your identity and purpose, I do think that, you know, it isn't easy, but it's definitely needed. This is was supposed to happen. Let's just say that. Of course, this is a time of awakening, but you know, Aries is this cosmic spark, as I said, and excuse me, it is the internal now. And like this triple retrograde in the first sign, of Aries is really the universe asking us or telling us to drop the mask, stop effing playing around, own your power, heal your wounds, set your identity and your divinity free, and build a life of sacred that is sacred. And this is a temple of your, Aries is our temple. So this is a temple of our authentic self expression. It's no reason to hide in dark corners and things of that nature if we really don't need to. It's time for us to hold our power and stop giving it away to things that are unnecessary. And usually those are, you know, structures that don't value us but we value it, and it's been going on for too long. I'm just sick and tired of the repetitive nonsense and the repetitive of normalizing things that really make us sick and fill our bodies with dis-ease. And this is really the time to own our power, and understand that we have more power than we actually ever thought, right? And yeah, so let's just get started. And we're going to start with Aries. Okay, Aries, like you've been crowned the king at this point. And so I'm going to suggest, Aries, that you create an altar for yourself, create a self altar, putting crystals around it, candles, or even saying, certain things out loud. I'm actually going to give you a ritual because I think these are important when it comes to like awakening, the power that is within you. But you are the cosmic altar, and please create one, that reflects your truest, most valuable self. And I would definitely use candles. Let's talk about fire. But anyways, these are this retrograde is gonna ask you to burn away these false identities. Of course, this has to do with borderline rejection, fear of who you are, clinging to this idea about power but not actually feeling like you have any. But now you are positioning yourself for purpose, for surrendering these illusions and finally letting them burn along with the ashes into the wind. And you are of rising as a phoenix, as a fire of truth. You are truly building a temple of courage in the ruins of these old ass fears. And even with Chiron being in your sign for a long time, you could have questioned, why am I in this lifetime? What is the point of this? And knowing that we return here, we return here, we actually don't die, and actually learning that can be pretty harsh as well. Definitely when Neptune is in your sign, as it's going through your sign, you're going to learn, hey, we actually don't die. So this is going to spark an arrow straight to the core of your identity when it has to do with rejection, and it has to do with unworthiness and feeling like you can't get things done or you can't assert yourself from things. But I think that from this sacred pain is going to flow through you, and it's going to ultimately strike healing within you, and also strike this divine warrior grace and giving yourself grace and others grace as well. Because as I said, where Saturn in your sign too, you could be owing other people karma as well. And that's not always easy because you're like, what the hell was I doing with them? But hey, that's a different lifetime we're talking about, right, Aries? And we have to pay our dues, but also your old karma as well. And just allowing yourself to rise with true and raw power and creating this temple for yourself. And that's why I say, please create this temple for yourself. And let me just tell you a ritual that you should do, Aries. So you should light a candle, make it red. I'd say red, orange, but I really like red for you. And definitely speak these words out loud. I rise, purified, the eternal flame of truth ignites within me. I am the warrior, the healer, the eternal self, because you are. Even though you're the baby, you're the child, you are the first. And you need to start saying things like, I am that I am, and truly believing in yourself again and finding that courage to be yourself. I know that the Chiron being your side is like surely never easy, to worry about where you are, where you've been, and having these deep wounds. They're finally going to alleviate and heal, and you're going to be reborn. So yeah, Aries, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye, Aries. Okay, Taurus. Hey, Taurus. I always feel like I just talk so much, but I don't. I have to keep reminding myself. I have to keep reminding myself, like, okay, you don't talk too much. It's just you're just passionate about what you're talking about, so a lot comes out at once. Oh gosh. Okay, so Taurus. With these retrogrades within your 12th house, let's just say that you are experiencing, or you're gonna really be diving in deep to these seen realms. It's like your soul's workshop. For you, it's definitely surgery and soul surgery, and that's very freaking uncomfortable, right? Because those are shadow parts of ourselves. They're so hard to face, and they're karmic as well, and that's so hard to like, that's a hard ass pill to swallow, right? And this retrograde is going to tell you, like, where dreams and your shadows are really intertwining, and they can keep you stuck in some type of way, having these deep wounds. We don't know, like, you don't know where it came from. They're hidden from you, and they keep being revealed from to you as something that needs to be addressed. But how can you address something that is karmic, and you try your best to get rid of it, but it's not going away? And I understand. I really do understand that, Taurus. But like Neptune and even Saturn and Chiron are going to invite you to dissolve these karmic veils when it comes to, like, sacred silence. Because sitting in silence and understanding your mission and understanding your journey here, understanding your mission, most importantly, it's gonna do you much good, because you're being used as a vessel of the Most High. And we have to go through experiences that don't make sense to us now, but in the long run they will. So this retrograde is definitely calling you to surrender to the divine mystery and to surrender to, restructuring your spiritual path, or restructuring your spiritual foundation. It's definitely, you have to be patient, very quiet, I would suggest. And it's like these roots are growing deep beneath the earth. And Saturn is the earth realm, and these things, this is why it's so important for you to find inner peace within yourself, and connecting to trees and nature and gardening and planting and food and things of that nature, and really, excuse me, grounding yourselves in these, I would definitely say, these ancestral teachings. But the ones that are earthy and witchy, like, you have to connect those with more, because you are really healing this ancestral line. And even though you can't see it sometimes, it is living in your subconscious mind and your subconscious wounds. And this can really have blocked your like your emergingness. That's not a word, but you know what I'm saying, like your ability to emerge into your light, into your fullest self. And I just have a message for you, and this message would be, like, trust the unseen currents, because your healing is going to flow through these quiet deaths but deaths, with th. And it's like you are turning stones, you're turning water into stone, you're turning stones in water. And that's quiet, it isn't always loud. But that's why it's so important for you, Taurus, to embody the Buddha, to embody the most purest part of yourself, and self-acceptance, and finding peace. Because once you find peace within yourself, peace within your mission, most importantly your mission, Taurus, you can find peace within a lot of things in this life. And that's when life actually shows its abundance to you, because you are the silent alchemist, Taurus. Okay, so that's all I have for you, Taurus. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Taurus. Alrighty, let's move to Gemini. Alrighty, Gemini. So, Gemini, this retrograde is happening within your natal 11th house. And Gemini, the 11th house, this is a house of your tribe. This is house of your long-term vision. And Saturn being in this house as well, like, anything is possible, really, especially with Neptune pairing up there as well. Anything is possible. And it's just, actually, I didn't mention the dates. I didn't even mention the dates. Oh my goodness. I'm going to mention them at the end of the video. But anyways, yes, because, Saturn and Neptune are going to actually be dipping back into Pisces. So yeah, I should have put that at a beginning. I'll definitely throw that in at the end. But you are really being asked, with the 11th house, these long-term dreams and visions, like these are being purified by this celestial fire, this internal fire, even fire that other people have lit for you and things of that nature. You are coming into understanding your mission and how it has to do with the collective consciousness. And Neptune is going to really remove these illusions for you when it comes to this society and things of that nature. Society always wants to do its own thing, but Julie, for you, Gemini, you are creating a space for these soul allies who speak life into you and speak your truth. Like what you say, they're speaking as well. And these are karmic lessons as well within friendships and things of that nature. And, karma is not always a bad thing. We can have karmic relationships that are meant to end, but they teach us so much about ourselves. We're like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for betraying me because you have taught me so much. And even some of these, because Neptune is there as well, you can be keeping or have these sacred contracts with people that must be honored, or released, but there's still something sacred that comes from it that's honestly very magnificent or very magical in some type of way. And this is truly going to awaken the healing within your voice and the healing within mending these wounds of betrayal, even loneliness. You can still feel like, yes, I am are surrounded by people, or I have this vision, or I could be surrounded by no one, or no one gets me, or no one truly understands me, myself, what I'm saying, or the mission that I'm talking about is just enough. It's just like they're just putting their own spin on it. You can feel like that as well, and that does spark some type of loneliness within you because you feel as though you're the only one who thinks that way. And understanding that this house is like everyone is adding their own spin, you know what I'm saying, and everyone is coming together and trying to move consciousness further, and no one is ever really truly going to be like you. And so what I would suggest, Gemini, is for you to write a letter to your soul tribe, and whether you send it or you don't send it, probably not send it, you can bury it, you can do whatever you want to do with it, you can read it out loud, but I would suggest you burn it, and burn it with the intention of releasing these false ties and inviting in true connection with people who are going to share your message. You know what I'm saying? But as I said, everyone has their own message, and you have to speak yours no matter what. You have to speak yours, Gemini. Okay, so that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Gemini. Okay, Cancer. Hey, Cancer. So, Cancer, you're going to be experiencing these retrogrades within your natal 10th house. So this, of course, this retrograde is going to focus on your career, your worldly success, even your life path, like where you're headed in life. And of course, this is just going to be under, transformation, so you can change your job. Actually, as soon as Saturn went into Pisces, like I lost my job, like the stupid job that I had. I didn't even want it, Cancer, so I wasn't too upset about it. But the way that it happened was obviously I can tell that it was something, it was just like, wait, what? But it was also like, thank gosh. And so, you may be ending a job, and you may be ending a life path that you thought you wanted, but you're heading in another direction. And I would say that with Neptune up there as well, it can dissolve these old identities, these old masks, these old things that you had to do. You had to play at this job, you literally had to play with these people, and now this retrograde is inviting you to shine authentically. Choose a path you don't have to be pretending for. It's no sense of pretending with them, they're pretending with you. But what Saturn does is challenging you to build your legacy on courage and discipline. So whatever you choose, the path that you want to go down, you have to be willing to do the hard work. And it's not easy to do the hard work, but it's so worth it. When I say it's not easy, I mean like you're doing it by yourself. Excuse me. You're doing it by yourself. You're doing it based on your own strike of trust. You have to trust in yourself, and that's what Saturn is going to teach you. being up there, being in retrograde, even when it's in retrograde, still work as hard as you can work, because when it goes out of retrograde, it's going to reward you with things that you didn't think was possible but are. And even though the world can seem cold sometimes, and we are not pretending with them anymore, right? I'm not playing with you anymore. That can seem harsh. It can seem like, wow, you weren't even that invested in me anyways, you just um you just wanted me at this job to use of my energy, and no thank you. And I just feel like Chiron too is going to heal the wounds around, having that sense of authority, having that sense of recognition. Like, they could be telling you like, you were the best at this job, Cancer, but as soon as something happens and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, or they just fire you out of the blue, it's like you were really not that important at all. And it's all good and dandy, because you have to transmute this pain, trust me, into leadership, into this direction that is actually rooted in the things that you want to do. So just try to get your path. My suggestion actually would be to write or to create a sacred altar that has symbols and that has pictures and that has any type of minerals or elements that support and surround your purpose in life. Like, where do you actually want to go? And light up like myrrh and frankincense, and have lavender there as well, and just speak to yourself, affirm to yourself, like, this is the direction that you're headed in, and put notes under your pillow and talk to yourself about what you actually want, and literally just hype yourself back up again, because you need to vow to lead with love and bravery. And of course, with your 10th house being in Aries and Chiron being up there as well, it's almost like you were afraid to step out alone. You were afraid to step out, but now Cancer, you have courage, especially with you don't even really need to have courage. You just need to know that it's gonna happen. And I feel like with Jupiter in your sign, you're having this knowing now, of knowing that, hey, I'm meant for more. I don't need to continuously feel this severe pain because I don't want to be here and I don't want to do this. Like, there's no reason to do things you don't want to do. There's a reason to find out what is it that I'm meant to do, or what you're meant to do, but it's scary to walk in that purpose. And it is scary. Saturn, Neptune can be up there as well, and it with going in retrograde, it's really showing you like, this is a work that is going to take, but Saturn is like, but you can do it if you have worth. You can do it if you have real truth. And this is Saturn's house. You will not be disappointed with taking a risk on yourself. You have to take a risk on yourself, even with Chiron being in there as well. Just take a risk and be as vulnerable as possible. You can be wounded and do it anyway. You can be sad and still make your dream, as I always say. So yeah, Cancer, that's all I have. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, Cancer. Alrighty, so moving on to Leo. So you're having this activation or these retrogrades within your natal ninth house, and of course you're being asked to dream bigger. You have star seed energy. You are the star like stage. Hey, I'm giving you your flowers, because it's time for you to return back to believing in yourself, knowing in yourself, of these higher truths, and having more insightful understandings about your higher self and the journey of life, and these understandings and things of that nature, right? I really want you to understand, like, I'm just gonna tell you a meditation that I think that you should do under the sun, especially for the month of July. Scream it in the whole hot sun, everywhere that it's hot. You can do it the sun, the moon, whatever, but I really suggest the sun. Say, I am light, I am truth, I am cosmic fire, I am all that I need to be, I shine in the dark. Say things like this to yourself, like really affirming these things to yourself, right? But with these retrogrades, you are really being asked to tap into divine mastery. And when I say mastery, I mean you have to still, how do I say this? You have to even if you have to study, you know, because Saturn is up there as well. Even if you have to study, you have to read books, you have to do things, you have to go places in order to believe and see. You have to have true mastery within yourself and knowing that things are possible even when they don't look possible. But you know deep down that they are, especially with having, you know, your 12th house in Cancer. You know that they are, and Jupiter going in there, right? Jupiter actually is already in there. And even when it comes to studying sacredly, we can still study sacredly. Every day we have to study ourselves, and sometimes we have to build a relationship with our higher self because we've been ignoring them for so long. You have to do that, Leo, okay? And then Chiron actually, you know, being up there for so long, this is asking you to heal these wounds around faith and cosmic belonging. And you don't have to belong to a religion. I really wish people would cut that out, but hey, that's just me. You know, you have to belong to yourself. And even those things like religion and any type of structure thing can help guide us back to our divinity, guide us back to ourself, help us believe in something other than just he say, she say. But also, ultimately, if it isn't like, you know, raising your awareness, raising your light, raising this star that exists within you, it is now becoming a burden. And now we cannot burden ourselves with other people's beliefs and what other people have told us to believe in, and even our father and what they believed in, and things of that nature, you know, our family members. You know, it's really hard to let that go. But also you have to understand that you are a star. Like, and what I mean by this, you have an inner light that always must be shining, and if it's being dim, you are not truly living in alignment, okay? And even when it, like I said, you have to learn new wisdom, you have to learn new things. I need you to go ahead and speak those new things upon yourself, upon your aura, because you can be a beacon for light, a beacon of light for others in very dark times. You are lighting up even in dark times. As I like to say about Leo, even in the dark you can see. And you know, sometimes when we have like wounds, or we have, you know, karmic debts to pay around our belief system and around actually, you know, believing in these religions, we have to pay that forward. You had to go through the church, you had to go through all of those things in order to find your light. But you are a beacon of light for others, and you have to shine very brightly, okay? So I am light, I am truth, and I am cosmic fire, Leo. Make sure you say those things out loud and come up with your own affirmations, but those are the ones that I suggest. And I suggest you doing it in the sun. I mean, don't please let the sun hit you all the time, especially in July and August, September, all of the other months. But starting in July, let's do this. Let's do this, Leo. Okay, so that's all I have for you, Leo. Hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, Leo. Hey, Virgo. So, Virgo, this transformation, this is going to be a transformation for you, Virgo. But this is going to be happening in your natal 8th house. And these are deep transformations, of course, because this is a house of transformation. With Neptune being in there, I honestly think that it's going so deep into the core essence of spirit that it's going to dissolve your fears. It's going to dissolve whatever is hidden at your core. And that's a great thing, right, Virgo? Because these deep transformations are going to flow through your soul's shadow, the shadow self, you know, the shadow realms, you know, when they, you know, we are thinking in our head with our psychology, because that's the 8th house. Oh God, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't move away from this, or I can't release this, or I can't trust this. And it's just running us rapid in our head. It's time, like Neptune is going to be dissolving these over the years. Nobody, because we can trick ourselves into believing things. We can trick our own psychology. You know, sometimes we really need therapy, Virgo. And it's not to say that you need therapy. I mean, everybody needs some type of therapeutic outlet, but you know, definitely choose wisely, because you don't just want to go to anybody. You want to therapize yourself. And what I mean by this, these are psychological wounds, right? These are psychological karmic wounds as well, and people making us believe things that are not real and true. And now it's like your karmic debts are being paid, and now it's urging you to build your emotional contract with integrity, with self-understanding, even with being kinder to your own shortcomings in your head, not being able to, like I said, um, like get away from the things that people have told us and try to drill into us. And these really go deep because these are ancestral scars. And Chiron is shooting arrows at these freaking, like, and piercing these ancestral scars in a way, or has been for the past 6 years. And now is a time where it's like, okay, you are being guided to rise from these old pain stories of, and giving yourself grace, painful stories of, like I said, the father and abuse and all of these different things. It's like, how could this happen to me? And you've gained so much wisdom, Virgo, and the reason why this is happening to you, because you were the only person that could have dealt with it, the only soul that could have experienced it and still came out as amazing as you are. I mean, that's the truth about it. And I really would encourage you to carry smoky quartz with you and meditate on releasing what no longer serves you, and especially what no longer serves your soul's evolution. That's the most important part. Smoky quartz is a great crystal. Like, oh my goodness, when it's time to suck up all the negative energy, grab a smoky quartz, put it in your pocket, under your pillow. I like to put it on my solar plexus chakra, because anytime that I feel overwhelmed, it always goes to my stomach. I'm not sure if it's like that for you. It can definitely go to your head, and what I mean by like causing mental stress. So I would like stick it in my head, or stick it well, I have locks, so it's pretty easy for me to stick crystals in there. If you don't, you can still, I would put it on my head, or on my third eye. Even if you have more than one, like just wearing it around your neck, or your brace, or a bracelet of it. But definitely, try to get some smoky quartz, because they can help you get over these hurdles. But even so, Virgo, you have to give yourself grace, because trust me, we all have these shadows, and they're not as loud as yours has been, in the past couple of years. And so anytime that you're dealing with them, you are honestly paying these karmic debts forward even faster than it takes most of us. It takes most of us our whole life to understand, like, wait, something is wrong. This psychology that I have, this has to change. And you're rising every which way. And with Neptune, joining in, and Saturn joining in, it's making, honestly, Saturn is making it happen much faster, so it can last for a much longer period of time. And even so, even with Saturn in your eighth house, you can experience like these long-term, long-lasting, like actually becoming a psychologist, or learning things that help you really deal with emotional trauma, trust issues. And it doesn't go away, if that makes sense. And you can tell others and teach others this as well. Even when it comes to financial debt, you are learning how to actually deal with it and live with it, and honestly come out of it. You know what I'm saying? And not other people make it out like people stay that way for their whole lives. And so you always need to pat yourself on the back, Virgo, because you are truly the shadow alchemist. And yes, like all snaps for Virgo. So yes, Virgo, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Virgo. Hey, Libra. So Libra, you're going to be experiencing this retrograde in your natal 7th house. I mean, like, you are really the cosmic harmonizer, right? You're an individual who wants to be seen as its own self, its own soul. And I think that, being with Libra, being ruled by Venus, we're always coupled with another person, or there's always a partnership or a unionship or something like that. And truly, this retrograde is going to burn and bring all of these illusions away. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to fall away like these leaves that were just something from the past. And Neptune is truly your cleaning your heart's mirror. And the Saturn retrograde, Saturn and Chiron is in there as well. This is you learning the lessons of balance, of boundaries, in order for you to be seen as your own sacred soul. Even enmeshment can do with Libra, because as I said, it's always like relational love. I love love, and Libra, it's beautiful because it loves love and it can bring other people together. It's truly the most intelligent sign. As I said, like Virgo is very intelligent, Gemini is intelligent, but Libra really takes the cake because they know how to harmonize and bring people together, right? And with Chiron in there as well, there could have been so many annoying and karmatic relationships that have happened in the past where you're like, listen, I'm not doing this with anyone. People have broken my trust. They have left me along the lines of being lonely, and now it's like it's time to heal those wounds of feeling lonely, of feeling alone, even within a unionship, and feeling like you're wounded. Like, how am I wounded if I'm with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't we be like going farther? And that's the thing with Libra, they come together in order to go further in life, to pick themselves back up again, to get to the next level. Like, we shouldn't be together if we're both like, I can do battle by myself. And people may have painted in the image like, yeah, we could do better together, and it wasn't like that. It was like they made you worse. And now it's a time, Saturn going there are, as I said, there were lessons around boundaries, and even inviting relationship to your life that's more serious. People are more serious coming into your life, but you have to have those boundaries. The what you're putting in, they have to put in as well. And this is really your alchemizing moment when it comes to creating a soul union that is rooted in truth and healing. Be very honest about the things that you want. In my opinion, this is a little spell that you can do. You can light a pink candle, or you can get like a red candle. I like pink for you, or white. And you could get some roses, some red roses, some rose petals, and envision your relationships, or envision like being bathe in like unconditional love. Take these baths, or wrap the candle. Actually, you can light the candle and then put the roses around it, or you can take a bath and have the candles there and then put the roses in there. Just imagine yourself being bathed in love and beauty and awesomeness, and really harmonizing. Not you, yes, you are the harmonizer, but also inviting that person in to be a harmonizer for you as well, because you're not always going to be okay, and that person has to make you feel okay as well. And even this broken trust and these intimacy issues that you could have had in the past, see those falling away and letting those go, kind of cutting the ties with that as well. You can get a pink ribbon and cut the ties with that as well. And even burning, I would never suggest burning flowers, like, no, but you can even burn some rose petals, or let them get old first, or sit them outside and let them die, and just burning away what you thought was beautiful but wasn't. Even people, imagining these things happen, putting their names down, and letting it burn away. But you're really inviting, or Saturn, Neptune is really inviting these mystical people into your life, but to honestly to test you on which one is actually meant for you. And some of them are beautiful, some of them are karmic partnerships that you're meant to experience here. You can only have partnerships with like one person at a time, but we can have friendships. This is a house of friendships and things of that nature. But it's truly like, whoever sees your divine light and is willing to equally share it, you'll know. You have to use your intuition. Saturn is asking you to get very serious about that. And during the retrograde, you'll start to see, even if you are in a unionship, Libra, that they don't dim your light. They don't dim your light. They actually want to work with you as well. They want to they want to give you your flowers as well. They're bringing you flowers. You are not the only one doing something, Libra. And it's really important for you to remember that, because with Neptune being in there, we can romanticize things. And you're already a romanticizer, you know what I'm saying? But even with, it's not even about romanticizing. It's more like, people can talk so much and talk very nicely, but are they doing it? You know what I'm saying? And are they listening to you when you say, this is what I need, not just that talk? You know what I'm saying? And you really have to have and use this discernment. And Libras are going to be getting married and things of that nature, and having these beautiful relationships over the next 14 years, 20 years. And so just definitely choose wisely. But whatever you do get into, Libra, it's really going to be a beautiful story and a beautiful dance. And these are karmic partners, and these are partners that really teach you about the value that you actually have, which is a lot. And that's why, like I said, like Libra is very intelligent when it comes to weaving things and putting people together, because they're the harmonizer. So yes, Libra, that's all that I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Libra. Alrighty, Scorpio. Hey, Scorpio. So Scorpio, you are going to be experiencing this retrograde in your natal sixth house, and this is a house of your daily routine, daily life, health, what we do every day, and this is a house of rituals as well, even energy and this ease within the body. So now this is the time for you to put in rituals, of course, that invoke healing. I would say like fire healing. I don't know if you've ever lit in a candle and you try to get it out with your hands. I mean, don't burn yourself, but there are ways to focus your energy on fire and make it move and make it do, definitely search this up, but we're talking about Neptune here, right? Neptune is definitely going to invite some type of spiritual cleansing, but also some type of use of magic. And so whatever magic that you want to use, let me just invoke a little ritual upon you, because this is one I think that you should use. You can bathe in like salt water, but like infuse it with like sage, or like infuse it with lavender, and envision your body and spirit being renewed, being empowered. Or even when it comes to like doing what do you call it, fire gazing, right? And you're trying to see what images that are being brought up in the fire. I would definitely suggest that you do it, on a white wall, if you have a white wall, and just focus on amplifying your fire, using amplifying your magic using fire and energy work and things of that nature. And this is going to do wonders for your health and day-to-day interactions with other people, because Saturn is acting to rebuild these healthy boundaries and rebuild healthy structures within on a day-to-day basis. But Scorpio, you're a mystic guardian, and so for you every day to not do something magical is you can't do that. You have to do something magical that has to do with you and your self-worth, and your it's like you have to have a everyday ritual, everyday self-care routine that invokes self-worth for you. Chiron being in there as well, and it's touching on these old self wounds. It can feel as though, but this can be embedded in your service every day, and you giving so much to other people, but you're not fully revising yourself with the spiritual techniques that you have to use every single day. And this can be, just speaking highly of yourself in the mirror, as I said, taking a bath, lighting some sage, some lavender, singing your favorite song, you know what I'm saying? But you are a priest, you are a priestess, and you will become a priest and priestess when you're able to invoke these sacred service self-care routines, and have them invoke this transformation in your day-to-day interactions. That's very important. Your life will get so much better, you know what I'm saying? Because you, like I said, you are the mystic guardian, and you really go deep. And for you not to confront something, or for you not to engage in some type of occult science is just like blasphemy. It's like, don't do yourself like that. You are the psychologist, the counselor. Your realms go so deep into things that other people can't even fathom, and you have to tap into those types of things every single day. And it can be, like I said, as simple as lighting sage, smelling sage, going for a walk, being in nature, but most importantly, like your mental stance. Okay, you can text me. That's my bae, so you can text me. Everyone was like calling into, okay, now he's calling. Okay, Scorpio, like he's going far. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I should probably cut that out, but I'm not, because I'm not. Anyway, but yeah, so it's like your soul and your body, Scorpio, they really need to be renewed and empowered. And that's a day to day thing, a day to day ritual that you must do. You have to, especially when, these planets are in retrograde. When Saturn comes back into being direct, it's going to have these long lasting effects. On your day to day interactions, even on your mind and your mental. Okay, so that's all I have for you, Scorpio. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, Scorpio. Alrighty, Sagittarius. Sagittarius. I wonder where they made that name at, right? Like, they really wanted to stretch something out. So I'm going to just say Sag. This retrograde is going to be happening in your natal 5th house. I'm going to call you the joyful seer, because you are really need to invoke some type of joy into your life. Dance. Let's dance. Really, you know what? Actually, Sagittarius, I'm going to advise a ritual for you that has to do with dancing freely, letting your body move as free as possible to music that makes your spirit soar, and it makes your spirit feel joyful, and say things like, I am joy, I am happy, I am light, I am creating with love, I am love, I am a child at heart, my inner power. Like, literally screaming all of these great things about yourself. And I don't know if I'm like doing it, right? I'm doing it, Sagittarius, but I don't know if you've ever just freely danced. I mean, your body is not doing motions. You're just moving, and you're just letting your body move. It's so freeing, and that's what you need to do, Sagittarius. I mean, you could do it when no one else is around, but let's just please do that, because your creativity is really, it's a flame. You are a fire sign. This is a fire house, and this is Aries is a fire sign too. And so your creative flame and your joy is being reborn from the ashes. Truly, it may have been burned away, and that can be, through our childhood. It could be through having children, through creative blocks and things of that nature. But with Neptune going retrograde, it's gonna melt. It's gonna melt away or dissolve some creative blocks that you've been having. Even Saturn is gonna actually for you to be disciplined about your authentic expression. And Saturn in the 5th house is not gonna play, because, excuse me, especially with Chiron being in there as well. And it's like, if you just X out the joy of life, you're Sagittarius, you're not going to be happy. And being happy is our center, and this is a real focus for you for the next 14 to 20 years. Even, this is a next focus for the next couple of years, for you finding that inner voice again, that inner child again, of play, of joy. Can you jump up and down and really just roll over and just be fun? You know what I'm saying? You have to be very authentic. And children are very authentic. If you have children, you're like, wow, they have a lot of energy, and you would have a lot of energy too if you would let your child out to play. And Chiron has been in there as well, of course, stifling these fears of rejection, due to our creative endeavors. This fear of rejection when it comes to being seen and being heard. If you have a very great voice, or if you do art, if you do anything that is creative, we sometimes it's very fearful, because we're like, okay, wait, I haven't done it in so long, and if I jump back and go and do it, I'm not as good as everyone else. That's when you have to take a look back, and Saturn is like, wait a minute, what did you say? Because your soul is singing a new song now, and it has this fearless joy, and it has this radiate creation. You can create nothing from something and something from nothing, because we are infinite souls, and this is the house of the soul. Fire, 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 fire. Fire is alive, it's moving, and you are very creative. And, like, as I said, there can be some blocks and things of that nature, but ultimately we can create something from nothing. We are alchemists, and in this house you are truly an alchemist. It's just about letting these things roam freely. And so that's why I suggest doing this dance, because let's spark some inner creativity. Like, let's truly look at ourselves as souls who can create. We are creators in life. You created your reality. Why can't you create the piano again? Why can't you play the piano again? Why can't you really sing and have this joy again? We have to return back to those avenues of fun in life, and that's truly life. And that's going to be your life for a little bit, Sagittarius, of course, depending on the placements. But you have Neptune in there, Saturn and Chiron, and this is where you're truly going to rise as a seer, because you can create a lot from feeling broken, from feeling stifled, from feeling silenced, and then now you have so much to say. Oh my goodness. And then Neptune is like bringing things from other worlds, so it's like, what don't you have to say again? No, it's very, it's definitely, this house is very internal. It's all about what's in the inside and what you make on the outside. But you are very joyful, and you will be very joyful in the future about the things that you create. And even if people like them or not, you have to live for yourself, not society. So yeah, Sagittarius, that's all that I have. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Sagittarius. Alrighty, so we have, oh, I said I was gonna make this video under 1 hour. Let's get it. Let's see if I can do it. Of course I can. Anyways, Capricorn. Hey, Capricorn. So Capricorn, this retrograde is gonna be happening in your natal fourth house. This is a stellium of retrogrades, right, Capricorn? And the fourth house is the house of the roots, your home. And these are sacred temples that we come from, and our ancestral lineage and things of that nature. And you are undergoing a spiritual retreat. This is a spiritual renewal. This is a retreat into your innermost emotional self. And Neptune being in there for these many years is going to dissolve any illusions that have to do with family karma, that have to do with childhood trauma, and all of these things. Is finally alleviating these painful experiences that you have had, and turning them into something. Chiron being in that house as well. I know it's truly never easy, but you are being demanded with Saturn in there now to build these emotional structures around rebuilding these emotional attachments that we have karmically and that we have ancestrally. You were sent here to rebuild that, and me as well. But in my Capricorn placement, but you have to be open to healing these ancestral runes behind your lineage, and these are very, very deep. As I said, the fourth house goes so deep. Sometimes we're not even aware why we keep picking up a cigarette. We're like, whoa, but you know what I'm saying? But we are honoring our ancestors, because you are called to honor your ancestors and called to transform your sacred roots into something that is more valued, especially within this lifetime, and definitely speaking life into yourself, and really uncovering these buried wounds that have to do with ancestry, motherhood, and all these different things that can be unseen to other people, but it's definitely seen to you. And so what I would invite you to do is to light a candle. You can create a sacred altar, as I said. I think I said that in my other video, but I was just saying this one, Capricorn, creating a ancestral um, um, altar, creating an altar for the mother, father, even for yourself, but just lighting a candle next to family photos, even names. If you only have names, that'll be good too. But anything that you have from the past, like a favorite piece of blanket, or I had that for so long, wow. But anything that can be sacred, to the home, to the lineage, to the childhood, And just start sending these healing energy through your generations, or asking for healing energy, and just speak these words out loud and say, our bloodline flows in love, strength, and sacred wisdom. I honor you, ancestors. I honor you, elders. Thank you so much. And, just give a lot of gratitude and thanks, and repeat these words back to yourself. Our bloodline flows with love and strength and sacred wisdom. I honor you, ancestors, as you've honored me. And really speak these words out loud and tell yourself these things, and be try to be as grateful as you can. As I said, these are deep wounds. We're like, wait, why was I doing this? But have you ever looked at a picture from the past, or you've ever been to a place that felt like home, Capricorn, and you're like, wow, Capricorn, you truly are, or you felt like you've been there before. That's what I'm saying. You felt like you've been at that geographical area. But what I'm saying is, Capricorn, the earth, you are the earth priest and priestess, and you have to act like it. And you have been very, how do I say this? You have been awoken since you've been a child, right? But we all make mistakes and things of that nature. So we have to attune for them, because, your ruler is Saturn, and Saturn is now in your fourth house. And, when your ruler is moving through the houses like this, and it's in your fourth, this has to do with deep ancestral wounds that really will change you as an individual. But then as you change, everything else changes. It becomes lighter, better, and clearer. And it's honestly an honor. Like, you really have to see it as an honor, Capricorn, because that it is. And so, yeah, Capricorn, I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, Capricorn. Alrighty, so Aquarius. Hey, Aquarius. So, Aquarius, you are experiencing. I look. Aquarius is like a lot too, right? Aquarius. Let's just say Aqua. But it's not. It's an air sign, right? But sometimes people get it confused with being a water sign. It's definitely not that. But it's definitely a visionary, shaman, in some type of way. But anyways, Aquarius, this retrograde is going to be happening in your natal third house of the mind, of our thought patterns, of our mental stimulation formulas, even the media, communication channels that we have. So these are going to be cleansed, right? These are going to be renewed or rewired by a cosmic light or a cosmic understanding of the mind. As I always say, the mind can sometimes be limiting in some type of way, but Neptune being in there, it's now your mind is running deep. Your mind is running very deep from the unseen realms, and Neptune is dissolving these limiting thought forms, and Saturn is helping you rebuild these structures around boundaries, around mental boundaries. If you're a goddess, your mind is very, very fertile. And people have said things and told us things that obviously sometimes I'm baffled by. I'm like, what are you saying again? And sometimes it needs restructuring, because we start thinking that in our whole life. Oh, women are only good for this, and goddesses are only good for this, and they have this and that. They're meant to build children, bear children. That is all. That is all that we were called for. No, thank you. So I do not subscribe to that. So so it's like that for you, Aquarius. It's like, don't subscribe to things that don't even make sense to you mentally. And it's like, if you gotta wrap your whole brain around it, it's like it's not for you. Throw it in the trash. For you, I would suggest creating a mental trash can in your head where you're like, okay, thank you, but no thank you, and start creating, like, literally trashing it, because you can get caught up in these collective ideas as well, and having these mental patterns that are honestly someone else's, but you carry it with you. So definitely create a mental trash can, and every time that you're throwing things in the trash, choose a color that lights up, opens the trash can, and put the trash words that don't make sense into the trash, right? And then close it back up, and for safekeeping. That's something that I would suggest. Or I can suggest you writing your truth on paper and like folding it. Try to fold it into a star, try to fold it into a square even, and carry it as a talisman. But these are words that you actually want to invoke into life, because these are going to amplify your authentic voice. So For the first one, though, for the first one that I suggested, those are ideas that don't suit you. But when you're writing things down on paper, you always want it to suit you, especially, if you want to carry it with you, put it in your pocket, put it on your pillow. Write things down that are magical and that invoke magical things for you as a cosmic messenger, even as your third house is being activated. Chiron is in there. It's been there. It's been in your third house for about 6 years. And with the retrograde, this is healing wounds around your voice, your expression, as I said, your mental formulas. And now it's time for you truly to step into the role of the visionary guide and also of the cosmic messenger, as I said. And that's why, I would suggest the other one, because if your mind is very fertile and very active, you have to let things go. You're like, whoa, this doesn't make any sense, throw it in the trash can. But also, if you are trying to rebuild your authentic voice, you want to say things, wear your voice, say your affirmations, and use it as a talisman. Use it as a word of armor, a word of, trying to express your authentic voice until it's something that you can say out loud. And you will be able to say out loud because Saturn in your third house is building up that real voice where it's like, I'm not going to take back what I said because I said what I said. Right, Aquarius? That's so funny. But yes, any type of mental restructuring that you must get done, it will get done with this retrograde, and that's a beautiful thing, right? So yes, that's all I have for you, Aquarius. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. I think that I went over an hour. Okay. Okay. We're at the last sign of Pisces. 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 I actually like saying Pisces. But like, this stellium retrograde is going to be happening in your natal second house. And this is a house of values. This is a house of self-worth and accumulation. Material things is seen in this house. Even family, family value that we hold up can be in this house. And this is your relationship to the material reality. And these are being transformed or transmuted by fire, by divine fire. Yes, you need this, Pisces. Let's just say it. You need it. Neptune is one of your rulers, and it's in the second house. It was just in your first house for years. I mean, you haven't seen your divinity yet, Pisces. What's going on? You are embodying Christ's energy. And Neptune going into your second, and actually he's going to retrograde back into Pisces. I'm going to say that at the end because I forgot to say that. But it's retrograding back into your sign, dipping back into your sign. Like, hey, remember who you are. Remember who you are. Don't forget, because this is not going to happen again in this lifetime. Neptune is really dissolving these false attachments that you have to security, that you have to the identity. It doesn't make sense. Please let it go. Please stop letting people define you, Pisces. It'll never work. You are the infinite soul of life, and it can never be defined. But those are good things. So like I said, all snap for you, Pisces. And Saturn being in the second house. Well, I'm great. Saturn being in the second house, this retrograde is going, and actually Saturn is going to move back into your first house as well, dip back into the critical degree. And these are your financial wounds, right? Or your financial discipline calling for this restructuring. There is no way in HELL double hockey sticks that you cannot make income in this life for being who you are. That was the only way that we could have made abundance. I don't know why we've been lied to for so long, but by being yourself and coming into who you truly are, feeling value, feeling a sense of belonging and deserving is how you make income in this life. And it's been hidden to us for so long, but now these things are being revealed, especially with Saturn moving into the second house. And you are being called for spiritual structure when it comes to your value, when it comes to the physical realm of you feeling rich and things of that nature. And Chiron being in your second house, this is going to heal your wounds. Well, this is healing your wounds. You have been having wounds since 2019, 2018, honestly. And so, and all the way up to now, going into 2026, of having a sense of worth, having a sense of belonging, of deserving. And excuse me, and you are now invited to embody abundance. Like, you actually have to embody abundance in this lifetime, especially beyond the physical. Like, you have to really be rich at spirit, and that's the thing, Pisces, you're rich at spirit, so why can't you be rich in the physical? Please remember, your richness comes from spirit, and self-love is richness as well. And I would suggest something that you can do is to light a candle. It can be blue, it can be like turquoise. You can put turquoise around it. It can be like light green, but light a candle. Put sea salt around it. Actually, let me just keep it simple, because I'm gonna say too much. I'm gonna do too much. Actually, let me just tell you, Pisces, right? Put yourself in a circle of salt. Put some candles around it. It can be like the small ones, right? But they're blue. They're blue or something like that, and meditate on receiving, like, just turn into a whole witchy ritual thing, right? You are the divine alchemist, Pisces. But anyways, yes. So surround yourself in a circle. It can be a star, it can be a triangle, whatever works best for you, Pisces. And meditate on yourself receiving this divine abundance. And you can even write down things, or say things. I wish that they're saying things and not writing things. I mean, you can write things down, but that's a whole different ritual. The one that I'm talking about, I would say these things out loud. I would chant these things out loud. I would say to myself, I am deserving of all divine abundance in all forms, in all ways. I'm worthy of all blessings of the seen and unseen. I'm worthy of all blessings that are mine and that belong to me. And just go on from there and continuously tell yourself that you are worthy, and affirm to yourself that you are worthy. And let's just say that, call it blessings, right? Because, like I said, your ruler is Neptune and Jupiter. These are blessed planets. These are planets that have to do with more than just the physical realm, but with the divine. And so you need to tap into your divine abundance, and that's when things flow like a wishing well for you, because you are blessed beyond this realm. And when you start to invoke and understand that, you can enact the code of abundance, Pisces. And yeah, that's magical. That's magic. And get yourself in a circle, as I said, or you can write some things down that you feel like you deserve, and put them under your pillow, and say these things out loud. But don't forget to do your affirmations, Pisces, okay, and your mantras. Yes, that's what I would suggest. I wanted to go over. So yes, Pisces, that's all that I have for you. I hope that it was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Pisces. I actually forgot to talk about the dates of this retrograde, even though it's on the thumbnail. I want to talk about, so Neptune is going retrograde in Aries July 4th, right? I talked about it in July horoscopes video, all the way to December 10th. But it's gonna go back into Pisces, right? And then it's gonna go back into Aries in July 2026, and then on July 13th all the way to November 28th, Saturn's gonna be retrograde in Aries, but it's actually gonna dip back into Pisces, go back into Aries February 13th, 2026, and then on July 30th, all the way until January 2nd, 2026, Chiron is going to be in retrograde in Aries. And so, yes, those are the dates, and that's all I have to say. Yes, so if you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Fairy Goddess Cody. So nice to meet you. If you can share this video with someone who may find it helpful. If you find it helpful, that'll be nice. If you can like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, that's all that I have to say. I don't want to say too much, because like I can go on forever. But yes, so nice to meet you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.